Arsene Wenger apparently, I think, look, this dude is Arsenal. He is the Arsenal since 1997. He is the Arsenal, right? He's the Arsenal since 1997. He had an interview. He was talking about a couple of things Arsenal, and among the things he said is one, he should have left earlier. He should have left. He says he regrets not leaving earlier in 2007. That is one. Two, he also says that the biggest regret he has as a manager was selling Niklas Anelka. And three, he says Cristiano Ronaldo was very, very close to joining Arsenal Football Club. Right. So, look, very interesting because they're coming from the manager himself. Very, very interesting. I always love it when the manager comes out and speaks and spills the milk, right? I always love it. So I was looking at a very, very, very good. I was looking at a very, very good interview, by the way, and I realized how much this lad is attached to Arsenal Football Club. I realized how much this guy loves football club. Despite the fact that he left, and ever since he left, we have not had a successful period. But I still believe the pillars that he built, the stadium. He always prides in having built the stadium, something that I think is actually not wrong at all. So let's try to see what he said in that interview around his signings and Messi and Ronaldo and a couple of other things. So he said we were interested in Messi, but it was not possible, said Arsene Wenger, who was speaking at an event for the twinning project on Monday night at the London Palladium. He said Barcelona had Fabregas, they had Messi and Gerard Piqué in the same generation. We tried to get them. So he wanted Messi. Oh, this guy is so selfish. He wanted Messi, Cesc Fabregas, and Gerard Piqué. And he says Fabregas wanted to leave, Piqué as well. Piqué landed at Manchester United, and Cesc Fabregas joined us. I refused to go into that game because if I was going to, if I go into my room and write on the wall all the players I missed out, I don't finish my life. I don't finish well my life. Speaking about a possible deal with Ronaldo, Dane added, we are now turning the clock back when Cristiano was 17 and was playing in the Portuguese under 19 team. He was spotted by our chief scout. Arsene said, and he says the chief scout came to Arsene Wenger and said, "Look, do you want to go over there and see him play?" And Arsene said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go across." And he says, I went with our chief scout by that time, and I remember seeing the Portuguese under 19 team play, and Cristiano did well. Then the agent who was with us at the time said, "Well, believe it or not, he's going to meet us for dinner afterwards." We had dinner at a sort of a curbside restaurant. He was really a nice guy, and he actually gave me his shirt. Oh, right. So Cristiano Ronaldo gave Arsene Wenger's shirt. Gave Arsene Wenger a shirt when he had actually gone to scout him, and he says it's one of the several shirts that I've got hanging in my cupboard at home. He gave me his shirt that he played in. He said we discussed a little bit about the money, and the agent said, well, let him think about it overnight. Then Cristiano said, I've got to go now. My bus is going. He jumped on the bus and went back home. The following day, I was discussing with the agent, and about 6 hours later, Manchester United blew us out of the water. That was the Cristiano Ronaldo story. I think we were being used a little. I think we were being used a little bit as a stocking house, because I think he was always going to go to Manchester United at the time. Right. Look, Interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. As an Arsenal fan, it's one of those stories that I've always wanted to hear. Look, there was one about Eden Hazard. There was a one about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Look, I don't know the real story about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but I'm going to dig out the one about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and I will upload it. I'll do the one for Messi, and obviously we're doing the one for Cristiano Ronaldo. But it's one of those stories that I've always wanted to hear from Arsene Wenger or from a source that has got interest, because I think it was last summer when we did a couple of it was our chief an ex chief recruiter who was actually talking about how we missed out on Jude Bellingham, Jadon Sancho, and a couple of other players. And I was like, okay, it's like more like business. But for Zlatan, for Messi, and for Cristiano, I've actually never believed these stories. I've never been so eager. I've never been so I don't know, convinced about these stories. I've always been eager, but I've never been very, very convinced about how these players and what actually happened and things like that. But look, this is the point. If I am, look, if I am Arsene Wenger, I would be mad. But he doesn't even talk like he was mad, because he says he knew that we were being used. He was always going to go to Manchester United at the time. Probably they used Arsenal as a bait, trying to tell Manchester United, you've got to pay this amount of money, you've got to act quicker and things like that. Because look, by the time Cristiano joined Manchester United, yes, the clubs were almost at the same level, but United had that degree of success over the last 20 years, almost winning 13 Premier League titles. And you know what that really means. And also they had a manager, in my case, by the time, who every player wanted to play for, right? I mean, players really did want to play for Arsene Wenger, but Sir Alexander Chapman Ferguson, it was a very, very different story. So Wenger says that they had dinner with Cristiano. Look, this is me being very, very, I don't know. They had dinner with Cristiano. They talked. He gave him his jersey. They talked about a couple of things. And Arsene Wenger thought he would get the deal over the line. But in the end, Cristiano actually, 17 years then, joined Manchester United. And the rest is a story. And the rest is an absolute pure, clean legacy. Right. And of course, Wenger also spoke about the fact that, he offered the best years of his life to Arsenal Football Club. But he also said that one of the things that really hurt him the most and he regrets was Anelka. Actually, if you read around the pieces that have been written around, this story, Anelka and Arsene Wenger and a couple of other things, it shows you that Arsene Wenger actually, or Arsene Wenger, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he really wanted, Anelka to play with Thierry Henry. That was his goal. He wanted Thierry Henry to play with Nicolas Anelka. And he says his goal and his what he wanted for the player was not for the player to play for 13 different clubs. No. He wanted him to nail down a legacy because he believed he was a very, very good player. And obviously he was. Because we signed him at 500,000 pounds. 500,000. That is 500,000. And we sold him at a staggering 22,500,000. So Arsenal made a profit of close to just a moment. Arsenal made a profit of close to 22 million on Nicolas Anelka. But Wenger says it's one of those painful moments, right? It's one of those very, very, very regretful moments when he thinks about it, when he thinks about Anelka and how he just ended up, meandering here and there at Chelsea, at Madrid, Arsenal, at a couple of other clubs, and Newcastle probably. I don't remember, maybe Blackburn. He was really, really hard. But let me ask you guys, just everyone on the chat, smash a like on the video, but let me ask you this. Which Arsenal player do you feel should have stayed. If you had a chance to keep one player, no, in that era of players leaving Arsenal for other clubs because other clubs are better and we cannot give them the money they want. Henry, Fabregas, Song Belong, Nicolas Anelka, Ashley Cole. Talk about the likes of Robin van Persie, Alexis Sanchez. Talk about Alexander Hileb. Who else left the club? Who else left us hanging? During the time. So Samuel Nasri, Emmanuel Adebayo. If you are to keep one player, just to retain one player, who would that player be? I would love to know. Who would that player be? Which player do you regret the most that he left Arsenal? Which player do you regret most? I'm gonna tell you this, and it's gonna be funny because I've thought about the likes of Fabregas. I've thought about the likes of Alexis Sanchez. I've thought about so many players, but I was really, really hurt by Samuel Nasri leaving Arsenal. I was absolutely hurt. Of course, it was a period where we were used to selling our players. The likes of Song left eventually, but I was hurt by Samuel Nasri leaving Arsenal. I was hurt. I look. It's one of those painful moments, and I wish he had never left. I wish he had never left. And actually, what hurt me the most is when he moves away from Arsenal. It's like the end of his career. It's like it's game over. And I'm like, what a player. He should have stayed. It's the same thing that happens with Alexander Sombele. I feel like, he should have stayed. He was good with us, right? But for me, it is Samuel Nasri. I regret the day I saw Samuel Nasri leaving Arsenal. I regret it. It's one of those painful moments that are never going to go away in the world of transfers when it comes to me and Arsenal Football Club. But let me know that player that hurt you the most when they left Arsenal. Not because they went to Manchester United or City, but because their transfer really hurt you. No? So don't go out saying, player ABCD was a Judas or anything like that. No, not really that. Not really that. I just want one player who hurt you, who hurt your feelings by leaving the club. All right. So basically that's it around Arsene Wenger and his talk. Lastly, it's I want to talk about Rob Holding to Newcastle. It's the last thing I wanted to talk about on the show. So probably it's the last thing we'll discuss, and maybe Alex and Lacazette. Frank says Nasri. I would have kept Nasri. I felt bad when he left. Muhammad says, good day, Kosi and everyone. Kosi, we should stick on Ramsey. That's according to Andrew. Majid says, in my opinion, Aaron Ramsey is a good player, but why did he decide to go to Juve? And now he wants to come back at the Emirates Stadium. Can you be showing videos of your stories? Can you be showing videos of your stories? I don't understand that. Please, Abdul, make me understand. Then Mohammed says Saliba and Ben White, are both very, very good. So in the last part of the podcast, let's talk about Lyon coming in for Alexander Lacazette and Newcastle wanting to sign, both of them, Rob Holding and Alexander Lacazette in January. Now, look, guys. There's a lot of talk around the general transfer speculation when it comes to Spurs and Newcastle. The reason is, Newcastle have a new manager, and now I think they're honestly, the fact is that they're looking to make their squad better. They're looking to upgrade their squad. I think Eddie Howe is going to have to do a lot when it comes to bring the club back to the position it's supposed to be. I think he was brought in as a manager who's going to lay the groundwork. And if he's going to lay the groundwork, the first thing he has to do is to keep them afloat, is to keep them in the Premier League. So Newcastle is going to be a big threat when it comes to, transfers. Rob Holding to Newcastle, would I do that? Would I do that transfer? Probably I would. Probably yes, probably not in January. Because my problem with such transfers is when a player like Rob Holding is leaving, we signed him at Was it 1 million or 1.5 million from Bolton? I think it was around 1.5 million. So if you're selling him at 35 million, that deal makes a lot of sense. But how about the cover for Ben White? How about the cover, for that centre back pairing? Because if we let him go, I've seen Mohamed El Neni has also apparently agreed to join Galatasaray, right? So if you let Rob Holding go, you leave your centre back partnership exposed. That if Ben White picks up a bag, or if Ben White just picks up flu or anything, there is no one to cover. There is no one to to back you up. There's no one to back up the squad, and it's something that I'm really, really afraid of. Right? It's something I'm really, really afraid of. I'd love to see Ben White compete with Rob Holding. Look, it's a little bit unfair, isn't it? It's a little bit unfair, but look, definitely, I would love to see both of them compete for that, for that position. I would love to see. I would love to see both of them compete for the position. I don't really want Newcastle to take him in January. No, look, it's a good deal. It's hard to resist. Arsenal have not sold players for that amount, 35 million, 30 million, right? It's not that easy. It's not that easy to let go, of such money. But if you think about the next better centre back at the moment, there is no way. Then there is no way you let him go, because after Ben White and Gabriel is Rob Holding, right? At centre back. Then Pablo Mari follows, and then Chambers follows, and then the likes of Kolasinac probably they could come in and fix the defense. So I'm against the idea of man like Rob Holding coming, going to Newcastle in January. In the summer, completely. Let him live in the summer, and let us bring in someone who can be an understudy to Ben White. Probably Saliba could be an understudy to Ben White. I don't know. Probably next season we will have a Champions League or Europa League if we can. And that's the reason. That's why I think that we need a bigger squad next season if we go into the Champions League, because the likes of Saliba will be playing in the Champions League. The likes of Balogun will be playing in the Champions League. There won't be much to be scared of. There won't be much to be afraid of. And that's why I think at the moment, Rob Holding, sell him in the summer, keep him for now. That's it. Sell him in the summer, keep him for now. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. Sell him in the summer, keep him in January. The same thing with Alexander Lacazette. Lacazette has apparently declined a new contract, doesn't want to stay. That's it. Doesn't want to stay. And I can't look. I don't know if I'm a fool, but I even don't care. Do I? I even don't care. Wants to stay? Doesn't want to stay? I even don't care. I even don't care. But I don't want him to leave in January. Honestly, let him sign a contract. Let him get a new contract. No problem. Probably with Juve or Atletico Madrid or Lyon, because Lyon have come in and they're interested now. But they want to take him in January. Tie him down to a long-term contract and leave him at Arsenal. Take him in the summer. We'll be very, very happy to get in, a better player, right? A younger player, a player that has, big potential. But for me, to let Lacazette leave in January with Aubameyang out, no. To let Rob Holding leave with my centre-back partnership, left hanging with no backup, no. It's something that I would definitely not do, right? It's something that I definitely don't do. And if we have the opportunity to sell Lacazette, I wouldn't sell him to Newcastle. I can sell Rob Holding to Newcastle, but I can't sell Lacazette to Newcastle. I would rather let him go on a free to Juve, to Lyon, or to Atletico Madrid. I wouldn't sell to Newcastle. I wouldn't sell them to Newcastle. But anyway, guys, that is much of the talk. That is pretty much of the talk. Today. Good day, Kosi and everyone. I would keep Nasri, Henry, VP, Ashavin, Kosi. They are too much. These are going to allow me. Look, the list is endless. The list is endless when it comes to players that really hurt by leaving Arsenal. right? The list is endless. But look, I don't think Ashevin for me hurt. I don't think Ashevin hurt. I think he was, he was a very, very good player, by the way. But I feel like he didn't live in his prime like Van Persie, because Van Persie left us, I think, after scoring 20 goals plus in the league, and then he left and scored another 20 for Manchester United, and he won them the 20th Premier League title. So it hurt me. Alex Sanchez in his prime, going for Manchester United, it hurt me. Nasri in his prime, Cesc Fabregas in his prime, Alexander Song-Belong in his prime, and a couple of other players. And it really, really hurt me. Absolutely, it really hurt me. But you guys have been a very, very big, great audience, and I'll be very, very glad to speak to you live at 9 p.m. Make sure you do check out that live stream. It's coming at 9 p.m. We'll be talking about the Arsenal transfer episode Arsenal transfer podcast episode number 4, where we'll be discussing Dusan Vlahovic. Is that deal off like it is being reported at the moment?